And he did.
Friends, if you're looking for real old school laughs, you're in for a treat because we've got them right here. Flip City Magazine. Remember Mad Magazine? Then it went woke? Well, don't worry. Flip City has no chance of going woke. That's right. 4 times a year, you'll get an actual printed magazine full of jokes, stories, comics, and more, all about today's pop culture, entertainment, and woke politics. Flip City takes terrible entertainment trends we love to hate with hilarious parodies of Lord of the Rings, Stranger Things, The Walking Dead, Star Trek, Hunters, and more. Trust me when I say there is nothing else like Flip City on the market. So subscribe today. It will be delivered in print, or you can even get it digitally if you're one of those wacky Zoomers. Either way, follow our link and sign up today, and if you put in midnight, you get an extra 10% off. Check out Flip City Magazine today.
We're gonna get a little bit crazy, wild and maybe even vulgar if you please. It's after dark and we're gonna light it up. Got some fun in store for you, no tease. It's time for Midnight Sesh. Dark, a little naughty, will hopefully make you chuckle, but we ain't trying to hurt nobody, so get ready quick on the double, cause it's time for Midnight Sesh After Dark.
Welcome to your favorite podcast, the greatest show online. It's time for some Midnight Edge After Dark tonight. We're going to talk about Superdog. What's the difference between him and Underdog and Underwear? If you're not aware, we're going to talk about that and a whole lot more. Welcome, everybody. It's Tuesday night. We're like, what, 2 weeks away from Halloween now? Something like that?
Something like that.
I've been so
Yes,
busy.
sir.
I have not
Just
gotten
over
any
2
of my.
weeks.
I have not gotten any of my Halloween shit out. I feel like such a slacker.
Well,
None. Like, remember last year I had that cool setup? No, I got
Oh.
nothing out. And I even think I even bought new decorations for this year, and I still haven't even. I just been so busy with Nosferatu that I ain't had time. Just, but eating and sleeping and breathing Nosferatu.
Is that what you're going to dress up for Halloween, Tom Ferratu?
Fuck no.
Oh, shucks. Tom Ferratu, everybody. Tom Ferratu 2024.
Nosferatu would be huge.
I want to suck your blood. Anyway, we got Scribe here. How you doing, Scribbles?
I'm doing all right. It's been already a busy work week, only 2 days in, but hopefully things will even out. Good evening, everybody. We're in a endless dark void today. I feel like, look at us. We're all like in a black background or something. Are we mourning? Are we just gothy? I don't know.
Are we in black? What?
There's no background to the thing.
It's not showing up for you?
Not for me.
Is it
I don't know.
showing
Does
up in
anybody
the
see?
chat?
Showing
It's
up for me.
I see.
I
UFOs.
see both.
Wow.
See,
Okay. I just see a black background. I don't know if it's a StreamYard thing. I
Oh,
apologize.
wow. It must be a
I see
StreamYard
it.
thing, yeah.
Hmm,
It should
that's
be
weird.
the UFOs.
Oh,
Yep,
yeah, it's not there for me.
UFOs.
It's the UFO.
Okay, well,
hotel,
it's just me.
yeah.
I'm cursed. I apologize.
Oh, no.
Price
No, it's
isn't
not your
even
fault,
here.
man. Right? Yeah, normally he'd be like the one having issues.
Huh. All right. Well, never
Hey,
mind.
Tom, I think I
If
can
you have
see
to
the
refresh,
screen.
then go for it. But
Yeah,
let's see.
I'll be right back.
We also have CC Karaoke here coming in from Canada. How you doing?
Doing all right. Land of the
How's
White.
Canada? You got to be freezing up there because we hit freezing for the first time last night.
Yeah, well, I know I'm near the ocean, so it's kind of always like 50 here all the year round. It's pretty tame. Don't really have mosquitoes. Don't have large creatures.
Oh, you're a beach
So-
bum right now.
A little bit, yeah.
Oh. You need to get some sun though. That's for sure. You look like if anybody looks like Nosferatu, it's you.
Oh yeah, no, people have been calling
Now
me a
you could
vampire
pull
all
off
my
a
life.
cosplay of that like a motherfucker.
Oh yeah.
Like I envy you in that respect. I mean, yeah, I mean I'm bald and all that, but like if I try being Nosferatu, it's like more like I don't know. I can't even think of a good pun here, but
Kingpin. Kingpin. Go for Kingpin.
yeah, it would look more like Kingpin, sadly. But I'm trying to think of a fat pun to mix with Nosferatu, and nothing's coming to mind.
Oh.
Okay, Porklock is more like it, or something like that.
Nosferatu.
Nosferatu.
Well, at least they gave us an off for trying.
Yeah.
We failed on that joke, big time. Fluffy fratu, Nosferatu,
Not that's what I was going to. Nosferatu or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's just such a. It's got that extra fur in there. That's the problem. For us comedians, that's a bitch. We like syllables, and we like hard syllables. But yeah, anyway. Last but not least, as of right now, unless anybody else joins us, we have Mr. Nick Weiser, all 32 flavors of him.
Tom,
That was formal. Tom.
do you like scary movies?
Oh god.
I'm a suspect, and you're a suspect.
Only in my sequel are you a suspect.
So let's move on.
Okay.
Please do.
Hi, chat. Hello, everyone. Superman has a dog. His name is Krypto, and I have thoughts and feelings. Let's go there.
He has his
Whatever
own
we do.
currency, evidently.
I know. I was about to say, does he have his own coin yet?
And I was going to say, is he on Bitcoin? What's his deal?
And we got SFX F13, F31. I always do that to him. F314 Sabertooth Raptor. Breaking our cherry tonight.
Yeah.
With $5 super chat. Named a new 3D Starfleet ship after you, Tom. Oh, awesome. So you can go ahead and send that off to me and I'll take a look at it. You may defend TMNT with it. Awesome. Send a picture of it to Comics and Culture Casino. Well, here, I'll tell you what. Let me just send you here. I'll send you my email and you can send that to me. And if I get to it by the end of the show, maybe.
Oh boy.
There you go. Well, thanks a lot for that. FXF314 Sabertooth Raptor. There, I said it right this time.
You did.
So, yeah, we'll have to check that out. And with that, we have nothing else to address, it looks like. But let's say hello to some of the chat. We got Many Dragon here. We got Bryant Barth in the house. We got, let's see here, D-Bud and Daryl swinging around some wrenches. Watch out. D-Bud does not look where he's swinging. Davina Duckworth is here. We got Scissors with Runs. That sounds very painful. We got Jeremy Winfield, and we got Deeple 101. We got, let's see here. Who else? We got Vidiot Savant. Fresh Snow is here. Speaking of fresh snow in Canada, if there is any. We got Forgotten Prime. We got Malachi D. Wild Man here. We got Mecha J also swinging a wrench around. Thank you for your help. Carlos Alfredo Lopez is here as well. And Ben Dowdy. And so many regulars. I even seen Hamdinger here in the chat earlier. Debaney Doombringer's here. Bucky Cat's in the house. Yep, UFOs with the building. That's right. Tom Ferratu. That one works, see? Because my name is one syllable. So
Yes.
That's true.
Unless we say
That's
Thomas.
huge.
But fat, well, you know, it's just it's a long syllable. It's a fat
Right.
syllable.
Yeah.
Fat already is funny. So trying to fit it into anything is like trying to fit a fat person into a fucking seat on an airline, I guess.
If you take fat and replace Tom, but keep the last part of your name, you get fat ass.
You're not wrong. I think. Yeah, Thomas, fat ass. Yeah. You're
It
right.
kind of doesn't totally work, but it sort of does.
Enough.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm so glad nobody in high school or grade school ever figured that one out. CC.
I didn't figure it out until just now. So.
I mean, I had here was the thing: is I was called Tom the Bomb before being the Bomb was cool.
Oh,
That was a problem. And then when the word became cool, then they just referred to me as just whatever. But it's like, yeah, fuck you. I'll kick your ass. And I did sometimes. And then they'd usually shut the fuck up. And we got Deeple 101 who says, Midnight's Edge After Dark, prepared to become a new spam email for any and all free trial shenanigans forever. I cannot confirm nor deny that it is me.
oh my gosh.
As long as you send me nudes that are not Paul Chatto, I'm all in. So yeah. And thank you,
Did you
Deeple.
Did you get Goddess of Whims super chat, or did I?
Oh, it did not. Oh, when did that come in? I missed that one. Goddess of Whim sends in 10. Smackaroo says, before things begin, I want to say something about this. May have been before the show because it wasn't in my reserves.
No, it was just a minute ago.
Was it? Okay.
Yep.
Then I just hadn't got to it yet. That's why. Now it is. Okay, I see it here. I want to say something about Cavill and Voltron. Yeah, we talked about this a little bit last week. We did. Voltron is not like Transformers. It's animated Sentai Power Rangers. Cavill bringing his star power to that movie is encouraging. Yeah, if they can actually get it to happen.
Right? It's live action, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
But Amazon and Cavill, their track records with things right now, and it's not Cavill's fault.
Is Voltron Amazon? I thought it was Netflix.
Yes. Yep.
Oh, it is.
Amazon.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know if MGM owns the rights to that or what, or if it's just something they picked up or what. But the not the rumor, but the actual news is that he's attached to it. So yeah.
Yeah.
So another project over at Amazon. Question is, who will Cavill play? Fresh Snow? That's a good question. I'm assuming he'd play just one of the main guys. Like, I really wish I knew more about Voltron as a franchise. I mean, I was aware of it as a kid growing up, but it just happened to be on networks we didn't get, or my networks didn't pick it up.
He's got to play the Red Lion guy. He's got to play the Red Lion.
Yeah, if he's the leader, then that's what I would assume. That or they're casting him as the bad guy, one of the two.
That would be interesting.
But that being said, like I mean, I wish I had more I could say on Voltron, just because I don't know much about it. Doesn't mean that I'm not excited for the idea, because I always thought the toys were badass, right? Like I even had the Red Lion as a kid, just because I thought the toys were badass. I of course wanted the whole goddamn thing, but who didn't, right? You know
who Cavill should play? Lion-O.
Yeah, he wouldn't make a bad Lion-O.
He'd make a great Lion-O.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I could see that. Definitely could see that. But yeah, thank you, Goddess of Women. Yeah, I think that's a good thing for it. As long as he sticks around. Yeah.
Well, if Amazon lets him, or they don't have some kind of dispute,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
or something. Yeah,
creative differences always comes into the play. We got Patrick Robinson fired in a $4.99 super chat. Says apparently Phoebe Waller-Bridge is still attached to live action Tomb Raider show. Fuck. Well, it can't be much worse than the animated one that the lesbians are thirsting all over.
She kind of looks like the animated one.
Did you see what the chick who does the voice for the animated one looks like compared to her animated counterpart?
Well, it's Peggy Carter from the Marvel universe, isn't it?
Boobay City.
Yeah, it's
it's like, how can you do that? Because I thought that they had to represent the person that's doing the voice now.
Yeah,
she needs bigger tits.
Well, she has big round tits. But Laura Croft definitely has pointy tits.
Not anymore.
Yeah. I was gonna say, wasn't that the PS1 days?
Now. Yeah, like like me and Nick got bigger tits than her.
That's scary.
The cartoon version, I mean, obviously. Yeah, big old titties, big old bitties. Yeah, that thing's gonna be DOA, Patrick. CC sending in a super chat, even though he's on the panel. He sends me a toonie. It says Tom the Bomb. Well, thank you. Weird sends in 5 Australian. Says, guys, I found something. Marco Meatball on YouTube. He and the head of the Voice Actors Guild react to game music. See the first 2 minutes of the vid. All right, well, let me see if I can find it here. we'll do that quick, and then we'll get on with our
Voice
topic.
Actors Guild. I didn't know there was a Voice Actors
Yeah.
Guild.
Yeah, there is. I believe so.
Oh, okay.
Nowadays, the guilds have guilds. So
Yeah, right.
There.
The Gilded Guild.
Yeah,
Elon's
pretty much.
robots are gonna have a guild too.
Oh my
Okay,
gosh.
so non-gamers.
And then you get
Non-gamer,
some
here's video games
activists
for the first
who don't
time. I'm
want it.
assuming this is it. We'll see how much they let us play or get away with playing. Let's see here. Come on. Jesus, they got enough ads?
Never. It's YouTube.
Ads are ass.
That's the only reason I haven't brought it up yet. Crapes. All right, here we go. Let's check this out for weird. This looks like he said, check out the first minute or
I'm very
two.
excited because I have Tim Friedlander here. Things that people don't know is that you're an established voice actor. You've been in your fair share of anime and your fair share of video games, including Final Fantasy VII.
Well, it looks like the first
remake,
minute
I
or
think,
so is just the
certainly
intro.
Ace Combat.
Yep, Ace Combat 7. I'm long
So I'm
cast.
going to assume knowing kind of
Something
what
really
they're up
cool
to.
just came out from Final
Let's
Fantasy
just jump
14.
ahead
It's
here.
called Give It All. It's from one of their raid tiers, and it actually features Chrissy Costanza from Against the Current, which is a band, and quite popular. This song is an absolute banger, and I just want to like hang out and listen to it with you.
Yeah.
Oh, these are like actual new. Oh, we're going to get nailed. for
Yeah,
it.
he might get dinged for it. Good soundtrack though.
He does not look impressed. Well, now he's trying to get into it.
I mean, sounds like it's probably one of their more J-pop songs.
I guess I'm not
So-
understanding the joke here now.
Well, if he's in the opera, that's definitely not J-pop.
Let's just get to his response. Yeah, because the music's just going to get us nailed or pulled down.
What do you make of that?
Hell yeah, dude. That's dope. I love that. It's like I mean, it's a little Paramore-esque. That's the first thing that pops into my mind. But I just love like the fact that we've got, you know, just some rock and shit like this in these games, which is awesome, you know. But it's still melodic. I love that, you know, you can sing along, you can hear the.
Oh,
grooves,
okay.
you
So we
can actually,
want
like,
just
vibe
the
with
intro
the
to it.
whole
Okay.
thing that-
Well, that
No,
makes
I-
more sense because the
Well,
music's going to get me in
everybody,
trouble.
I am very excited because I have.
All
Tim
right, thank you, Weird,
Friedlander
for the
here.
update
Things
there.
that
We'll check
people
this
don't
out.
know is that you're an established voice actor. You've been in your fair share of anime and your fair share of video games, including Final Fantasy VII remake. I think certainly Ace Combat.
Yep, Ace Combat 7. I'm Longcaster. I'm in the new Like a Dragon series. I'm the new Daigo Dojima. In
Yeah,
the,
like
in the Like a
Dojima.
Dragon.
That's
Yeah.
right. What anime have you been in?
Hunter x Hunter, One Punch Man, Record of Ragnarok. I'm Ares in Record of Ragnarok on Netflix.
Jesus. Wow. So you're like cool.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
And then, of course, now we see it behind you. NAVA is the National Association of Voice Actors. Is that what that stands
That's
for?
the one. That's it. Yeah.
Do you mind really quickly explaining like what your job is with that and like what you guys are doing?
Yeah. I'm president and co-founder of the National Association of Voice Actors. We're a social impact nonprofit that advocates for the voiceover industry, specifically within the larger kind of broader entertainment industry in, first of all, in the United States, but then on a global level as well. We work with all of the kind of global voice acting associations that are out there. We started originally to offer access to national health care for freelance voice actors, and then have moved into the AI conversation
in a big way.
In a big way in the last year. I think the last one I looked like I've done 192 press interviews about this stuff, and presented to all levels of the government, including the European Union, in Brussels, and various just all over the place, man. Yeah, it's been crazy.
Yeah, you're living like you've gone to the White House multiple times now too, haven't you?
Yeah, got to DC. Yeah, we've been on Capitol Hill, so we've been to the Senate and Congress for House of Representatives.
It's really crazy to me that like you all started this as sort of like a way to advocate for voice actors for health insurance, and all of a sudden you're like the leading voice of like you're essentially like the guard against.
Can they
bullshit
advocate for
actor
better
industry.
localizations? Maybe.
How do you think we feel, man? It's like this is nuts.
This is also your fourth sort of like reinvention, huh? Because I mean, you were a music teacher for a really long time, and you played clarinet, right? If that's
yeah, I got my undergrad degree in clarinet.
Okay, I think that's what he wanted us to see. So, all right, so this guy's advocating for voice gilding stuff, and as Weird's pointing out, he's just going to get replaced by AI anyway. I mean, I guess now would not be the time to be pushing too much stuff if you're in an industry.
This is one place where I don't hate AI because we got these localizers turning the original Japanese scripts into their own agendas, AI doesn't really give a crap unless you train it that way. It's just
Right,
going
I
to
was
take.
going to say that's
just,
going to be a problem if they just translate it with AI, because the AI will just translate it. Yeah,
exactly, which is going to be far better than anything we're getting right now.
I mean, it may be some broken English at times, but hey,
I mean, I'll take that over, taking something and completely changing the meaning.
yeah. All right, well, thanks for bringing that to our attention, Weird, and yeah, I'm not sure what else to say to that. I'm not really following that stuff too much. It sounds like CC knows a little bit more about it than anybody here on the panel. But
Well, I don't know if that's what that particular person is talking
Right.
about, but just obviously there is a lot going on right now. Like back in the 90s, translations of video games kind of sucked. That's just
Right.
to be fair. But we're dealing with something kind of more insidious now, which is the translation of the woke culture into English translations. It's like, the Japanese game might not have anything woke about it. It may not have any insidious messaging, but then you get an activist localizer whose job it is to bring that original text into a different language, and they change the meaning and the context of the script to, wokeify it. So it's not even necessarily a position where the original content is bad, right? It's because it's being brought over to a different audience, different language.
right.
It has the opportunity to be tainted. So
Yeah, as Davina says, activist voice actors did it to themselves. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm gathering. And like I said, this is not the right time to be asking for more when you're in an area where they could easily just restart. If you don't already have a guild in place and certain contracts, they could just easily come in and replace your ass with AI. I mean, they don't have to make it sound exactly like you necessarily. I mean, they can't do that, but they can find a replacement real easy. That, or there's somebody who's much cheaper that'll do it. That's the other thing. Like, I'm up for sale. You come and get me if you need a voice actor anytime. Infinite Wanderer adds some context to Marco Meatball with $5. Thank you for the support. Says he's an opera singer who listens to and dissects video game music. He's been slowly trying to get the opera industry to accept game music. Well, interesting. All right. It's good to know. And so yeah, we're gonna put a pin for now in the super chats. We got a couple more here, but we'll get back to them. Let's talk about the big news that's hitting the internet right now, or at least on Twitter and going around. James Gunn dropped another look at Superman and Krypto, for that matter, and we even got a motion image to go with it.
Fancy.
I don't know if you guys saw this yet. So yeah, so people are talking about this. This is probably one of the things I've seen probably the most positive buzz around so far. Not all of it, but a lot of people seem to be okay with this for the most part, it seems. But let's get your guys' reaction. Let's start with you, Scribe, since you said, "Oh, fancy."
Oh, fancy. Yeah, well, I mean, at least it's we kind of already knew this, but at least Gunn is going for the more bright and upbeat version of Superman rather than the world-destroying glum dumpster that Man of Steel was. No offense to Henry Cavill, he's a great Superman, but we don't have it washed out and everything. We have bright colors and we have a cute puppy. I'm still not sure how they're going to pull off a decent film with so many characters they're packing into this thing, but especially one more with Krypto. But sure, why not? It doesn't hurt anything, I guess. Unless he starts talking.
Win, though.
Yeah, puppies always win. Unless he starts talking or something like Rocket Raccoon, then we might have a problem. But otherwise, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm assuming the dog's
could
going to be completely
problem.
CGI.
Couldn't be any
Mostly
worse than
CGI.
Look Who's Talking Now,
Oh, man, that'd be great. They get John Travolta to do the voice of Krypto.
or Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito, yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah, it's a real permanent. Yeah, that's right.
Sorry, I shoot on your shoe, boss.
That's right. Oh, my God. Having to claw back to the memories of those movies. As long as it's not Patton Oswalt. As long as it's not Patton Oswalt.
Don't give him ideas. You know, there's only one character. One character in the world.
Yeah.
But I think I could stand him playing now. I used to say he'd make an all right Penguin, but I take that back now because he did that fan film thing and he was kind of shitty in it. I think he might be able to play Mitzpitlick.
Mitzpitlick, yeah, I was about to say.
Mixie
But
is
that's just
middle.
because he's so fucking annoying that it fits with the character.
You
Yeah.
will never top Gilbert Gottfried as Mr.
No, he
Mixie
won't.
in like
No.
Superman the animated series.
Yeah.
That was a
R.I.P. Gilbert.
defining
Well, he's no
cast.
longer with us, sadly.
I
Yeah,
know,
R.I.P.
but
Gilbert.
dude, that
Yeah,
voice
right.
was perfect for that character.
Oh, I agree. Yeah. But
That-
no,
whatever,
actually, you know what? I'm going with
Go ahead.
Sergeant Point Blank, Bill Murray.
Oh,
Definitely.
yeah.
Fuck yes.
I like that.
Bill Murray
that's
is Pitlick?
a great
Oh, that'd be
follow-up.
great.
Yeah. Just count me in for that.
But I don't know. He's a bit too dry. You know, it has to be a little bit of wacky, unless he gets like his sort of crazy.
I think Bill
Scrooge
Murray has
kinda
moments where he
attitude.
can get wacky. So why not?
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
Superman!
Not-
Have you
he's
ever
not
heard the
capable
joke
of it.
about the Aristocats?
Yeah.
I'll tell you a joke. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you guys.
no, dude, that was
Nick,
good.
what's your response? Because you're the comic book guy.
Well,
sadly, we
I
don't
like
have Klobby here. He'd give us a history on Krypto right now.
Oh man, so I do like that Krypto's in this movie. Obviously, I can tell he's got a red collar, so that's good. That's obviously how Krypto should be. And it looks like he's the right size dog. Obviously, you won't see the front of it, which I'd
Did
like
you say
to
rad
see.
or red? It looks like a yellow collar to me.
Oh yeah, it does look. See, it started. When I look, it does look yellow. See, he usually has red. Maybe some of its stores he probably has yellow.
As long as it's red,
I
yellow,
thought
or
it was
blue,
red.
I don't think I have a problem.
Yeah, as long as it's red or yellow, blue, either way, I'm good with that. It looks like Krypto. It looks like there's gonna be a bond there, which is fine. I think that's a step in the right direction as far as the story goes, or wherever they go with the story. And I'm still gonna defend the cape. I like the cape. I like the yellow S. Still not my preferred S. I know it's the Kingdom Come S, but for what is on the cape, man, that collar really, really botches it down for the backside a few points. But overall, I'll say at least it's a bright, hopeful image, unlike that other one that was super dark and dour, muted colors all over again. This at least looks like, hey, this is something that is Superman. So it's a.
Are you kidding me? Snyder's version of Superman would have killed Krypto in the crib.
No kidding.
Oh yeah, straight up. Dog would have been freaking in the those areas, the pounds, and Superman would have went there and killed Krypto at that point. Who needs adoption? He would have said some dumb line like that. And then all of a sudden Zack Snyder fans like, oh my god, that was cinema. That's what they would have been doing.
Cinema.
Yeah. That's what they were. That's all they would have been. But
I just wanted to
once
convey
again,
Superman's loss through the loss of Krypto. I always thought a super dog was kind of stupid.
yeah. Overall, though,
Krypto's Krypto. I have no one way or another about him.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I do like the character. I do have a handful of comics with the character is, so it can be fun. There could be something fun here, and I like to see that element played into where the dog can maybe have that one moment in the movie that he comes in that most random use for. It'd be cool, but who knows where the story's gonna go. I'm gonna need more of the story before I can make it a judgment. All I'm gonna say is, if James Gunn blows this movie, his career is done. Toast. Seriously. I don't see him coming back from this if he blows this. And right now, the odds are not the worst, but they're not in any ways great or good. So, Gunn, you got a lot on your shoulders with this one.
Agreed. CC, what you got?
I'm really jaded about Superman in general right now. I mean, when I was 11, 12 years old, he was one of my favorite characters in the world. If there was anything going on with Superman, I was interested. I was certainly, asking to go and see it, or I'd watch it anytime it was on TV. And now I've gone through the rest of my life, and I haven't read every comic book, but I haven't seen any good Superman for a very long time. Everything since maybe the mid-90s has kind of, in my opinion, been shit. And we're talking about 30 years of awful to more awful Superman in my mind. And there's nothing about this project that's really changed my mind yet. I'd love it to be good. I'm not going to just write it off before we see more out of it. We haven't really seen that much of it yet. It's just like, I'm kind of, we talk about how other franchises are seriously damaged, like Star Wars and all that. And I mean, is there, how healthy is Superman right now? Is this just like, I mean, if this movie's bad, it's not going to make a ton of money. If it's good, is it even going to make as much money as it should? Because, like, I mean, DC's not in the best of shape, and Superman hasn't had a great movie in a long time. It's like, I don't know what the excitement is here.
My main concern is that this is going to go too much in the other direction from Snyder, that it's going to be too quippy, jokey. Superman, I mean, he's got that Boy Scout sort of innocence amongst a more rough world kind of charm. I keep thinking back to Superman the Animated Series as sort of like the boilerplate image of what I would hope a Superman kind of story would be for the most part. And I mean, hopefully Gunn doesn't take it too goofy, because that I think would be as wrong a decision to do with the character as what Snyder did.
Yeah, I don't want that either.
Yeah, there has to be a certain level of gravitas. There has to be a certain level of, I don't know how else to put it. It's sort of like, a seriousness that Superman is there to bring a little light to, but not super dark, but not like slapstick. And I know Gunn can moderate himself from time to time, but so far my only sort of notion of what Gunn's style is now is Suicide Squad 2, Peacemaker, and Guardians of the Galaxy. And in each instance, he does have moments in those things where you can get some pathos.
And here's where I think you need to do yourself a favor, and a lot of people need to do themselves a favor and check out some of his earlier works. Because if you look at Super, and I think, what was the other one called? Slither? Was that it?
Yep.
And some of that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, he has some of his wackier stuff like the Supers and Tromeo and Juliet. But like Super, like in that third act, it goes super serious. Like almost too serious in tone.
Yeah, but Super was a long time ago now.
Yeah, but my point is he does know how to make serious films. And then look at Dawn of the Dead as well. Right? Like, I mean, he didn't direct that, but he wrote it.
Well, I know. I'm just wondering if he's not. I just wonder because of, like I say, what I see in Peacemaker.
And again, I could be completely wrong. You could be completely right. I hope I'm right, obviously, but at the same time, he has been really pushing this Richard Donner, Christopher Reeve love so hardcore in the last year and a half, 2 years, whatever it is since this announcement.
Yeah, I hope he sticks to it.
That I think, and I hope, and I pray that once we get into this movie, the worst of it is his floppy costume, right? Like everybody's bitching about the costume. Will be like, whatever. The costume ain't even the problem. The movie's great. So whatever. If I'm wrong, and then you guys are right, that's the thing. This is a make or break moment. We've been saying this for a while because I'm of the belief that superhero movies are dead. I think the craze is dead. I think we're past the time period. I think we're into the good, bad, and the ugly phase of Westerns now with superheroes, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Where the Western has pretty much died out. It's the same thing now for superhero movies. Yes, we'll get TV shows. Yes, we'll get movies and such, but we're not going to be getting the $200 million, $300 million superhero movie every other weekend like we used to.
Well, I mean, if he can pull off a Christopher Reeve like,
especially if this doesn't work, that's the point. But yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, yeah. If you can't get Superman, or if you sully Superman again, but do it, you can't really come back from that for at least another 20 or 30 years or something. And but
it's just a sign that it's just a sign that the audience is just kind of spent on this shit.
But if he gets the tone right, he gets the character right. If it hits all the right marks, if I feel that sense of wonder again, like I did when I saw Superman when I was a kid, then he might be able to restart, not just reboot, but actually restart an element of the genre's fans into believing that it can happen again. So we'll see.
See, and I don't know. Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, I don't know if he wrote Brightburn, but I think he produced it. I'm not sure he might have been a co-writer on it too. And I know a lot of people like that. That's a more serious film too, but you were about to say something, CC. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say it's the right time for a more hopeful, light like kind of classic homeliness vibe, which is what would fit Superman. Not dark and gritty, not Suicide Squad, but not slapstick. An actual kind of.
But I also get
classic,
Scribes.
You know.
Yeah, but I also get Scribes' concern here because we've got nothing but quippy Marvel movies for the last.
Oh yeah, I'm very concerned about it. It's just that if a Superman movie was done correctly at this point in time, in the current kind of environment for what people are probably hungering for right now, it could probably be very successful and maybe, yes, set the tone for revitalizing the genre in general.
Right.
I haven't seen very much of this project yet. We've only seen a few still images, right? I have no idea really for sure what we're getting until I see more, right?
And it's going to come down to the actor too. I mean, Christopher Reeve is Superman, and he embodied that role and he took it so seriously. There's that one clip where you see him take off his glasses and straighten his back, and it's like he just, without doing anything, no special effects, he transforms from Clark Kent into Superman right there in the camera. That is a hard act to follow, and I gotta credit Brandon Ruth. He did his best. He did a really good job at trying to recapture that. I'm not quite sure about this guy because I've heard the name a couple of times in places, but I wouldn't know a performance of his if you asked me to name one. So I don't know. I guess we'll see.
I'm glad you mentioned that one scene, Scribe, about when Superman did that whole standing up, and I can't remember if it was the first movie or second movie where he's about to tell Lois, and you saw him change the tonality of his voice, his height adjust, the whole thing. That scene should be the standard by which any actor should play Superman. I think I said a few weeks ago after I saw the Christopher Reeve movie that because that shows you right there. Reeve was Superman and Clark Kent. He nailed the personalities. The duality of the two personalities in one body. That should be, if you could do that scene, you definitely should be Superman.
Yeah, it really reminded me of it was the physical match to what Kevin Conroy talked about when he was doing the voice acting audition for Batman, where it's like, he had two different tones for the character, but they didn't but you could tell it was the same person after a fashion, but there was a Bruce Wayne voice and then there was the Batman voice. And it was just a very slight modulation. But
Superman has the same thing, right?
Right. And that's what I'm talking about. Is like that moment of physicality with Reeve on screen going from Clark Kent to Superman right in the same moment.
He nailed it. And
exactly.
Able to nail it in the same sense. And the only exception I would say is probably Dean Cain, only because he was playing a different kind of Clark Kent and Superman in that version. But that being said, I mean, even with the problem with Cavill's version is not the look, it's not any of that stuff. It was the fact that there was no wholesomeness to either side of him.
No,
right? And that's the thing.
And that's not his fault. He could have done it. That's the thing is that it was wasted potential.
Exactly. But Superman, and this is why Christopher Reeve works so well, and why I think to an extent Dean Cain and who was the guy? Brandon Routh.
Brandon Routh,
he was fine. The movie is a whole other discussion.
The movie was awful. He was well past it.
Yeah, is embodied that you have two different kinds of wholesome that Superman and Clark are, and that plays into why they're so different, right? And this goes all the way back to like the primitive version of this in the old, radio serials that was carried over into the Fleischer cartoons and then carried over pretty much from there on out. The only times that was probably different was George Reeves, because he was just kind of playing George Reeves.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, he didn't really change either time, and it really kind of made Lois look stupid. But that being said, like, you had that whole, oh my God, well, this looks like it's a job for Superman.
Yeah, exactly.
Always do that thing.
And there's got to be a little bit of gee shucks kind of small. You see, I don't.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, the idea of the small town boy. The concept of the small town boy has kind of. I don't know if it's died on the vine over the generations now that we've become so.
It kind of has, because that's even a point in the Donner film, right?
Yeah.
Lois says to him, "Is like, is there any more like you back at home?"
Yeah, because it really is an artifact of a different era and a different culture in our history to have that really contrast between the big city and the small town. We don't, you don't really have the city mouse, country mouse kind of notion anymore as much. And so
It's
without it sounding like you're coming across as like,
people in real life, people make those transitions still to this very day. I mean, I would know. I've lived in the burbs. I've lived in the city. I've lived sporadic moments in the country, and Clark is supposed to understand the dynamic of both those types of cultures. It can be done. You just gotta get a writer who doesn't think the world only revolves around Los Angeles and New York City, and they'll understand. Oh, hey, there are other states and cities outside of those two cities in those two states. That's all. I'm just saying, like, it can be done. It's just you got writers who are lazy, who don't want to go out of their bubbles because they think that the world doesn't exist outside of what they know.
yeah, except that the small towns these days, like portraying that doesn't come across as either being like some kind of hillbilly or someone who's escaped a meth lab or something.
That's it,
the
right?
thing. I've lived by those towns, and there are aspects of it that are there, but there's plenty of aspects of it are not. It's just, once again, do the homework, do the work, and actually go look at the area and see what it's like. You're gonna find and there is a little bit of a hillbilly aspect to Superman anyway, too, because his father was a farmer. So you gotta have that thing.
You know what my friend said to me today? I was gonna say this because you brought it up. I love hillbillies, but I hate crackheads. And people,
you can find a lot more of them in the city than in the burbs or the country.
Well, sure, but it's just like, I mean, it's like there is something I think that is just wonderful about the classic sense of an actual kind of rural town that's friendly and homely and with good like classical values, which you're right, maybe is kind of antithetical to modern Hollywood, but
it's certainly antithetical.
A lot of people to the theaters.
Yeah, it might be antithetical to Hollywood, but it's certainly anachronistic. I mean, the question is like, can people believe if you were trying to do Clark Kent in a classic sense, could people believe in that kind of small town innocence anymore?
Yes,
and suspend their disbelief.
If they give you the right story, yes, it can be done. It's just going to be all, once again, up to the writer. This whole that's why I don't buy this whole concept of Superman can't work for today. No, bullshit. Now is the perfect time in this day and age with how polarized the world is on a social level, political, cultural level. We need something like Superman more than ever, with the constant moral ambiguity, with all this absolute craziness with there's no good or bad. There's just gray and just how you see things. This is the time we have something so definitive and so sure of being right and what is absolute heroism come in. This is the right thing to have right now, especially if it's a good film. This is the time to have a great Superman film. If this movie does hit, it doesn't even matter if the sequel doesn't do as good, because the first one, got right at a time where we needed a hero to believe in more than ever. This is the time. You can't find a better time than.
No, continue. I'm sorry.
No,
did we lose Nick?
I totally agree with you, Nick. I'll say that.
Yeah. And I see Victor on saying says, I don't think I'll. That's the thing. A good writer can get people to believe that. A good writer can do that, because that's the beauty of meritocracy, is to take something that you're thinking, how is that going to work? And getting them to be convinced that, yes, this can work.
Well, Superman is timeless. And that's the beauty of it, because he's not a human being. So you don't necessarily have to tie him down to any modernized or modernistic or even one worldview, for that matter. And that's what I love about this image, is he has a view of the world. And if you understand Superman as a whole, you can really nail him. Because that's the thing, is the sad part is Watchmen almost gets Superman better with Dr. What's his ass? Blue Dick.
Dr. Manhattan.
Manhattan, then Snyder did in his own Superman movie, right?
That's sad how true that is. That's
if you listen to the bit about where Manhattan's talking about how you know, she is so unique that there's only one of her in the world, and that whole thing, that her whole backstory, you know, his girlfriend or wife or whatever, Spectre, that she is in herself, you know, this, how does he put it? I'm trying to remember. But you know this part I'm talking about, right? Where he has that epiphany, where, you know, because through the whole story, Metropolis is just all ho hum, ho hum. What does any of this mean? I don't give a shit. Blah, 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 blah. I don't care. What does any of this mean? Why am I here? Why am I so smart? What is people? You know, like, just through the whole movie or story and book. And then all of a sudden he's like, wait a minute, I've been thinking about this the whole wrong way, you know, through that, you know, incident that she was born from came this beautiful individual, right? And somebody that her mother wouldn't trade for the world. You know, all these little idiosyncrasy, you know the word I'm talking.
Yes.
That make her her. Thank you. And that is the way I think Superman views humanity, right? He looks at us from a very broad standpoint. Right? He doesn't just see he loves those little things about us. And those are the things that he knows that make each and every one of us unique. And that's why I think he may not choose to necessarily, you know, choose not to kill necessarily, but why he chooses to preserve life more than anything, if that makes sense. And Clark does it on a more localized level through his depiction of Clark. But anyway, you're about to say, I got a little esoteric there, but yeah.
There's I forget what it was. It was one of the animated movies or one of the cartoons or something. There's a storyline in which Lex Luthor successfully captures and absorbs all of Superman's powers and basically becomes Superman. And in that moment, he suddenly has an epiphany, because Superman's powers of, you know, his sense of sight and feeling and his place in the world and everything, he realizes that Superman can sense the interconnectedness of all living things around him in the universe, a perspective that Luthor didn't have before. And suddenly he realized why Superman sees all life as precious and sees everyone as important, and has a deeper understanding of humanity in that sense. And that gives him some insight as to why Superman is the way that he is. And I don't know if that's canon or anything, but I always thought that was kind of an interesting take on why Superman is so optimistic and everything, is because he can sort of sense the importance of order, but also the importance of preserving life and so on. Maybe that's.
And it also is important as to why I don't like that when they don't bring in too many Kryptonians into the mix.
Yeah,
because the more Kryptonians you start bringing in, the less
special
it makes him
special, and less of it being a Superman movie.
Well, not only that, just the idea of how he views this whole situation that he's in, right? Like, he has these powers. He doesn't have to do this. He could be doing things for himself. He could be selfish, but he is so grateful that he found a home and a family that protects him, that he is willing to devote his life to good, right? And we all have had this intellectual talk whenever we're drunk or stoned with our buddies and our comic book friends, we're talking about it. But it's just so amazing that you have somebody like that it just so happened that he landed where he landed, that he was found by the people that he was found. You know, and there's been so many Elseworld comic books with this whole idea. Hell, even isn't that what Brightburn's technically about, is what happens if Superman were to be raised by the wrong people?
No, that not really. They were fine people. He was sent here sort of like the Iron Giant to be a destroyer, not a savior.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. I haven't seen it, so I was just saying, like, I mean, I know that's still, like, there's different versions of this that have been explored over and over and over again, right?
Sure.
My point is that if you take away him being special, like if you have 20 other Kryptonians show up all of a sudden, then why does he give a shit so much about, or why would it matter to him so much that where he's at, you know, like he would be in a situation now where it's like, well, why don't we just go to our own planet and start our own new Krypton?
Yeah, right? You can't be the last son of Krypton if you're not the last son of Krypton. You gotta, that's got to be part of the story. Either it's part of the story or it isn't. So yeah, I never really liked bringing in too many Kryptonians, any other Kryptonians. I always thought Supergirl was like, well, even that seems a bit too much, but whatever.
I could forgive the not great Superman suit if the movie was very Superman centric, focused, and driven by his story to the point where the other characters like the Mr. Terrifics and the Guy Gardners are nothing
Yeah.
more than like a cameo or an after credit scene. Or
Well, that's
like
my other concern is
if
that
you
there's only
get
so much.
Superman right and
yeah.
it makes it about him and not all these other characters, I forget.
Yeah, there's only so much real estate in this movie to effectively introduce a brand new Superman and also have all these cameos, and that's another thing. And I don't know how long we're going to talk about this, but you're effectively having to reintroduce Superman to the world after years of not having one and all the controversy over Henry Cavill. And if they take too much time to establish or joke around with other cameos and stuff, it just robs your ability to really make this a Superman movie rather than a jumping off point for a bunch of spin-offs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, and I agree. And I
this
mean,
needs to be a Superman movie, not a DC movie.
yeah, and I mean, because look, and I'm not trying to shit on Snyder some more, but fuck it, I will do it anyway. I mean, one of the things he fundamentally misunderstood about Superman is it's like, oh, here, take this scene, for example, where he allows himself to be arrested and handcuffed. And to somebody as silly as Snyder, he's like, well, see, he's showing humanity that he will be allowing himself to be taken custody. We know, of course, that he could go away at any. It's like, nah, Superman wouldn't do that anyway. He wouldn't. He just wouldn't. Because he knows that we know that he. Go ahead, sorry.
No, I was gonna say Nicolas Cage as the crazy Nick Cage has gone on record when he was involved with Superman stuff. I think for like voice stuff, and he literally said the words, "That's not something Superman would say." If Nicolas Cage can stop being Nicolas Cage and say Superman, that's not Superman, then there's no excuse. There's no excuse. Because Nick Cage can even put his craziness aside for 5 minutes to say,
well, it's because
hey,
he understands the character.
Yeah, I know he does. He may not look at the character, but when you're doing like voice work and stuff, at least that guy respects the character. I would trust something like, let's just say, written or something if it had some involvement with Cage more, because I know he's gonna make it about the character. When he says something like that, and that's a Hollywood guy, come on. Why aren't more guys like that involved? I mean, this should be beyond common sense.
Yeah. Because I mean, and I was just using that as one, example, because that only works. That kind of a thing only works if you're doing like Hancock. You know what I mean? Like Superman turning himself in and allowing himself to be handcuffed, that doesn't show people shit. Nobody would ever do that. Because Superman wouldn't be put in that position. Superman is the person who would be in a position to where the president would be like, well, there's no need to put him in cuffs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Hancock was a better Superman movie than Man of Steel and all.
Unfortunately, you are correct. If you're going to take that version of Superman, right?
Yeah.
Like at that point, like, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, I don't mind also rans and okay, what ifs. But don't mess with my Superman, right? Like that's apple pie. I don't need it jazzed up. It just needs to be what it is. And again, my biggest gripe so far is the fucking suit, just like everybody else. But I hope that's the least of it, and we're fine with it. And yeah. But again, I have a lot of faith in James Gunn because he has yet to let me down. But at the same time, I know he's got a lot on his shoulders. Yeah. So. But anything else you guys want to say about it before we go into what Chad has to say about it?
Nah. Said enough.
We can
I'm not even some like big Superman fan either.
We could go on this topic all day. It doesn't matter if you're a big Superman fan.
Well, I was kind of dragging it out just a smidge,
casual,
in case Script wanted to pop in or was able to pop in because he's
and Script does is Superman too.
Yeah. So like, if there's anybody I usually defer to when I have a question about Superman, it's him. So, with that being said, let's see what you guys have to say. Cthulhu is in the house. Says, nice discussion, but can we talk about how messed up Earth is in the image? Equator off, continents out of place. Send Gunn back to science class. Well, I don't think he made it. But yeah, I was at first, the first image I saw, I'm like, is something looked off too about it. Yeah, a lot of people have been noticing.
No, you see, here's the thing. That's the Earth after Superman spun it backwards to turn back time. That's the
everything's
problem.
all
It's like,
fucked up.
yeah, and everything gets jumbled up. That's the problem.
You want to know why I think that is, though, guys? If you want to know the honest to gosh truth, I think it's more of a marketing thing. So I think you can blame marketing on this one more so.
Yay.
Because they want it to where they can get a still frame from every country for that specific Twitter. Do you get my drift? So if it's like the US Twitter, they'll have a screenshot from the US view. If it's from the Chinese, well, Chinese don't even, but you know what I'm saying.
So
I don't know why I went to China next. The British one, it'll be over the UK, the Great Britain area. You know what I'm saying. Fucking dumb if that's the case, but that's probably why. So you can see every continent.
I just want to live in a world where that's the worst of our problems with the Superman movie, is something like that.
Yeah,
yes, I know it is out of place. He's right, but if that was the worst thing that happened about this movie, fine. Who cares?
Some people were thinking it's because of AI, but I think it's more of a marketing thing. I think they want to be able to show every continent. Was the point I was getting at, without sounding like a complete fucking idiot. But I did it anyway. Kalekioki sends in $2. Look, I have my sleep schedule's all fucked up, guys. I feel like I'm drunk right now. That's part of my problem. Kalekioki sends in $2. Says, look up Krypto animated series, fairly accurate. I think I remember that. Wasn't that on CW or is that a different one you're referring to, Kalecki? I do remember one from, was it Cartoon Network or CW or something like that a while back? Not too long ago, like 10 years ago, maybe. Kind of comedy.
I just remember that Super Pets movie with The Rock in it from a couple.
It had the same kind of vibe as that from my memory, but it wasn't nearly that adult.
I think Krypto was like
kid-oriented.
Wasn't Krypto more like a Doberman or something?
Well, it's funny you mention that because I believe in one of our super chats here that is addressed. Kalekioki himself says
Labrador.
The dog should be a Labrador. Krypto is far bigger dog than that. Gunn said he based Krypto off his dog. He needs to stop with his nepotism shit. That I can't disagree with. But you know what? I will say this. A scruffy looking dog like that usually gets a lot more ahs and oohs than a more dominant looking dog does.
Yeah.
Just in general. Especially mutts. People love mutts.
Mm-hmm.
The fugglier the mutt, the more they love. Look at Steph. She loves ugly dogs. The Star Wars Steph from Geeks and Gamers. But anyway, SFX F314 Sabretooth Raptor says, sent to pictures, Tom. Okay, well, let me check it out here. Still working on it a bit. I'll send it to Culture for him to print a 3D model for you if you'd like to have it. Well, I would love to have that. Let's see what it looks like here. Oh, wow. Got a few pictures for it. Looks like. Ooh, fancy. I like that. I like the way the blue looks with the black there.
Ew.
No,
I like how it's got your name.
Is it supposed to look like a taco shell? Is that a Taco Bell crack? Nah. It looks almost like a penis. That's the rear view.
Whoa.
Oh.
Well, that's pretty badass there. Literally, look at that. Nice. Well, thank you so much for that, Sabretooth. Yeah, definitely. If they can manage to pull it off, I'll take one. I'd love my own ship. Who wouldn't? Thank you. And then we got a question from John Riker who says, what's the best sports movie in the last 5 years? Oh, Lord.
Oh. Dream Horse.
What the hell is that?
It was a movie about horse. No, probably Iron Claw, I'd say.
Okay, yeah, I haven't seen that yet, but I can see that being a good, and I bet you that's what Nick's gonna pick. Nick's not here? Okay, well, Nick would pick that because I know he was really, really geared up for that movie. Are you back, Nick?
I'm back. Sorry, I had Mark D with a C.
You're fine.
Yeah. Well, best sports movie last 5 years. What movie did you say that you thought I'd pick? Because maybe my brain's gone full retard. Tom.
I think Tom thought you were going to say Iron Claw. I said Iron Claw.
Yeah, the Iron Claw. Yeah.
Sadly, I still have not watched it.
I thought you were supposed to
No.
see that in the theaters.
I was, and then when
You never got to it.
there's I had a day that day when I was supposed to, and I'm still
man.
kind of
You
yeah,
were so
trust-
geared
it
up to see that. Yeah.
I know, and in a normal world, Nick would have seen it. Normal world, Nick would have absolutely seen it, maybe seen it a few times. I hate that I haven't, but I'm gonna make sure within the next few weeks I finally rectify. Because if I have
You
favorite
said
sports movie in
rectum.
the last 5 years, it probably would be that one. It probably would.
Yeah, Jobu, I'd probably pick this of the ones I've seen.
Mm.
I haven't seen Iron Claw yet. Ford versus
good
Ferrari,
movie.
if you count
I like
that as a
Ford versus
sports film.
Ferrari.
I
Yeah,
guess.
it's hard for me to say if I count
Mm.
that as one, but is it a good movie regardless? Yes. Even if it is from James Mangold.
Yeah. Well, it was decent, and then kind of there was that Lamborghini movie. I think is what Six is talking about here. And hey, Six, how you doing? It says that driving movie with Legolas was was amazing, even though I consider car racing, and I think she means not to be a sport. Yeah, I'm kind of a look. I'm not going to say it's not a sport, but I would not say it's the typical standard, because it does take. Look, you have to have a certain type of stamina, health, and
Reaction
agility
time.
and ability, reaction time. Like, there's probably more that goes into being a race car driver than just risking your life, as far as having to actually be somewhat athletic than being, say, a golfer. Right. Like fucking Tiger Woods could gain 500 pounds and still be a good golfer. But if you gain 500 pounds, you're not going to be a good race car driver. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not going to happen. The most you're going to have when you're 500 pounds, I suppose your gut would get in the way of your swing.
That's funny.
He yells 4, and everybody's like, no, we're pretty sure you're about 500 there, Tiger. No, okay, that was a bad joke. That was a bad joke.
No, I
Don't
got
even
it.
laugh
I
at
got
that.
it.
No, that
no,
was a
too
bad
late.
joke.
I'm not taking it back. I'm doing it.
Joe Pat 87 sends in $4.99 and says, I kind of find it funny that Krypto predates both Paw Patrol and Disney's Bolt, two franchises akin to how DC likes to implement this pupper. Yeah, that's the thing, is like Kalekioki added earlier, is like, I know there's been a few incarnations now of Krypto, right?
Well, he's been around since the Silver Age.
Yeah, he's been around forever.
Long time.
Yeah.
I like Bolt. Bolt is a good movie.
Technically, really isn't he older than Spider-Man? Because didn't he?
Oh,
yeah. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it came out before Spider-Man, yeah.
That's how legendary Krypto is.
I was pretty sure his debut was in a 50s Superboy comic, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah,
he's right.
Krypto's early Silver, I think early-ish Silver Age, so yeah.
Somewhere between 54 and 56, I want to say. This is why we need Clobby. Clobby used to, he would have told us all this shit already.
He would have known that.
And these are the days where, I mean, I think about him every time before we start a show, obviously, but like, these are the days I really thinking about Clobby and miss him, because it's like, you know, he would know all this shit.
And you know, he would have had words to have said too about that. And he could have gone on a 10, 15-minute tangent about it, and we would have all listened. We would have all absolutely listened.
Yeah, he probably would have been like, I like Krypto, but that ain't Krypto.
Yes. Oh,
Krypto's a Labrador, blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, he would just rambled the whole thing out there, and we wouldn't have had to ask too many more questions after that.
Nope.
But thank you, Joe Pat, and this one's for Clobby, that's for sure. But yeah, let's gosh, there wasn't much else in news. There was this weird story. Now, just a pre-warning here, this one's a little political, guys, and I know we usually don't get too political over here.
Mm-hmm.
But this one I just found too fucking convoluted not to get into.
Oh yeah, this one.
I mean, this is the beauty. Deadline is put together this whole story into one.
Mm-hmm.
So for those who don't understand what this kamikaze is all about. So Matthew Modine was criticized because he was out there saying that Trump shouldn't be using Full Metal Jacket. It's an anti-war film, blah-dee-dee, blah-dee-dee, blah. And I'm just sitting here thinking, Matthew Modine, just shut your fucking mouth. And then you got Stanley Kubrick's daughter saying, no, same thing, Matthew Modine and everybody else, shut your fucking mouth. And I said, it's fine that he can use the clips because guess what? My dad would have voted for Trump.
Well, yeah, this goes along with,
and
like,
I believe her.
Yeah, president. Like you hear this a lot. Presidential candidates using certain pop songs or something to have their music for their rallies or something, and then the band goes like, "We don't give you permission to do that" or something else. And in this instance, you've got Trump using clips from a movie. One of the actors in the movie's like, "You shouldn't do that because this, that, and the other." But then you have somebody who's far more connected to the artistic ownership of the film, let's say, giving her blessing. So, yeah, it's just it's silliness.
It's
Whatever.
People complaining just to complain. And here's the thing. Let's just pretend for conversation's sake that it didn't have her blessing. The thing is, that stuff does sum up Donald Trump's presidency because he's the first president in the last, 50 or 60 years that did not start any new wars. So, yeah, actually, that does suit him. And I know a lot of people don't like to hear that, but that's the facts. He started no new wars. No new wars started up under his 4 years. So yeah, that does suit him. Like if anything, he's probably the most qualified for that type of clip, like by a landslide. So, anyways, that's me being done talking about politics on MEAD.
Well, I just you had that whole thing with the Foo Fighters, where there's like,
there's that.
She's not allowed to use our music, and then what was it, like weeks later comes out that Dave Grohl cheated on his wife and had an extra kid.
It was worse than that, actually. I mean, look, I'm not saying that I'm not going to judge his morals. That's a completely different conversation. The part that bothered me about the Foo Fighters and all these other fuckers coming out against the music is like, okay, they have that right. They can do that, right? That's not anything new. But what they were doing, them, and I can't remember who else it was that was coming out at the time, they lied about not getting paid.
That's true, too.
Because Trump, I think they even produced the receipts that, oh, yes, we paid for the rights to these just because you didn't necessarily see a check at your fucking doorstep that said the Trump campaign. They're trying to play semantics, right? Like, that's not how this shit works. You pay ASCAP. Trust me, I know how this works. ASCAP pays the fucking artist, right? That's how this shit works. You buy the license. Because in actuality, outside of political realms, unless you're like Led Zeppelin or the Beatles, you don't have all that much control over your music to where just about anybody can buy it, right? Like, and especially when it comes to cover songs, you have very little control to none over cover songs. Because from my understanding, all you basically got to do is just pay the fee for the cover song and you're done. Like, nobody can stop you. Like, even Weird Al could always make his songs if he wanted to. He just respected the artist to where that's why he would get a hold of them, ask them, and if they did say no, and the few times they did, like Prince and Paul McCartney, he would respect them, right? So in that case, like, that's a totally different conversation than this. Like, that's just fucking blowing smoke up people's ass to try and make Trump look bad, right? And look, I'm not trying to get political either, but this whole thing is fucking stupid. Because first of all, Matthew Modine, this is your most famous fucking thing you've ever done. And it almost sounded like he was shitting on Kubrick at the same time when he was talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
But like, for those who may not think that Kubrick, but whatever, look, Kubrick fucking hated Hollywood. He didn't even live in Hollywood.
Been killed for it.
And he may have even been killed over it. That's a good plausibility, and we're not going to get too deep down that hole. But there was a lot of people who did not like the movie Eyes Wide Shut for various reasons. You go figure that out for yourself. That being said, there's a lot of people who believe that movie might have been what got him. But no, I agree with her. Obviously, she knows her dad better than anybody else would. And I just knowing his temperament, knowing the way he thinks, knowing the way he was in his personal life. Yeah, I don't see him being much of a crazy leftist, alt-left, the way they are now in Hollywood and California. I mean, he may be a classic lefty in a way, in certain respects. But even then, he was quite conservative in his personal politics. And he got out of Hollywood, from my understanding, because of the craziness that was in Hollywood. He didn't like it. So
I mean,
I don't know what else y'all
if
have
you-
to say about this, but yeah.
just I think you make a good point, because if you ask most artists, for like the multi-tracks to their music, they don't have it. They sold it with the record deal to the labels. I don't know who signed off on allowing Trump to use Full Metal Jacket in the ad, but I'm guessing somebody did. That does not appear to be the story here, that he just
Warner
used it
Brothers
without
had
permission.
to, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like, whatever your opinions may be about whether he is a pro or anti-war potential and former president, he was allowed to use it. He got permission, and he used it. Personally, I don't think the irony's lost on him, but I mean, it's like, I actually think it's a pretty good ad, personally, but
Yeah, and this is sad that Boba Fett, the way Kubrick was smeared as a woman hater, when, as far as I know, his marriage lasted until his death, and he was well known as a family man outside of work. And that's one of the reasons why he insisted on shooting all his movies over in Britain or the UK or whatever, is because that's where he lived, and he didn't want to come to California. He didn't want to leave his family. That was at least some of the things I've heard, especially later in life. But
they didn't need to make this a subject of controversy. This could have all been avoided, but Modine needed to bring his TDS to the forefront. He could have just not said
got him a headline, didn't it, Nick?
Could have. Obviously, he wanted to chase headlines. If he really cared about this on an integral level, you know what he could have done? He could have reached out to Kubrick's daughter. That would have been the integral move. Hey, how do you feel about this? And then
he probably didn't like
but
Kubrick like most actors. Sorry.
Well, and he doesn't have to. That's fine. He's entitled to feel that way.
But that makes me like Kubrick more, because he has no time for their bullshit.
Oh yeah, true. I'm trying to look at this as down the middle.
No, I get you. I agree with you. It's
he's
just
allowed
stupid.
to. He could hate everything Kubrick has done. There's nothing even wrong with that. If he really cared about this, like about hype and trying to get headlines, he would have reached out. And it's not like he's someone who's not connected. He could have gone a hold of her, but he needed to signal. He knew that the people he likes to signal out to would be like, yeah, tell him, how dare you use that clip. He wanted to signal to the people who share his TDS. So this didn't need that. This could have been a complete non-situation, but Modine had to be like Dave Grohl, and now they're both reaping what they sow.
Yeah. Well, and Monkey Jeebus brings up Stranger Things, because I think that's what he's on now. Well, here's the sad part. He's on that show because he's a fucking 80s relic. He hasn't done anything relevant since then. That's the problem. Like, I wonder if most people even know who the fuck he is. Look, I got no issues with him personally, but this whole thing is just stupid.
Yeah, I mean,
where does he get off speaking for Kubrick? Exactly. Yeah,
I love season 1 of Stranger Things, and I even really enjoyed season 4. But no, he could just kept his mouth shut. But to be fair, also he's probably one of those guys who just saw this and right away reacted rather than look into it, because sadly that's become, not just in Hollywood, but even just in the regular world, you could say that's just become a norm now, where people just react without looking for details first. It's clear that Modine just reacted, not looked into it, and think, I wonder what went here. Wonder what's the reason. He had to base it off, I hate so-and-so, so therefore I have to knock on it because so-and-so. So
yeah,
he could have done that, but no, didn't have time. It's all about the signaling.
Yeah. And yeah, Vidiot Savant, you're not wrong. Kubrick had the same autism that George Lucas has, basically, where he just doesn't understand actors, where they'll be like, what's my motivation? And be like, to read the lines. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. George Lucas was that way too. They'd be like, what's my motivation? He'd be like, it's on the page. Just say what's on the page. They're like, yeah, but George, I need to know. No, just say the lines. Say them faster. More intense. That's the most he'd give him. Faster, more intense. Kubrick, on the other hand, I've never really seen him talk too much character motivation with any actor. Does not seem to have the time for that nonsense. I could never see Kubrick ever having to deal with a method actor. I bet you he'd have fired him his first day. Like I'd have to go back through his filmography, but yeah, like I can't think of one offhand, but that's because I don't.
Wasn't Harvey Keitel like fired off of Eyes Wide Shut or something after like
possibly Harvey Keitel's been fired off a few films though.
Well, I know. I was just trying to remember. I'm trying to remember one story that I heard something about him getting kicked off the show.
But I don't think
it was Eyes Wide Shut.
I don't think he's method. I think he's just. I could be wrong.
Yeah, it might not be method. I don't know.
I think he just has a very strong conviction. I've heard he's a lot like Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah.
And not in the same way, but like it's like, you know, if he doesn't agree with something, he's gonna stand by it, and if he believes in it, he's gonna stand by it. So like,
yeah,
that's kind of what I've heard, and that's kind of what came between him and Apocalypse Now. Was he and Francis got into it over something to do with the character, something or other, and like yeah, so he's just a very convicted person about where he's at, and like that's where Dustin Hoffman and him are the same. Like Dustin's like, you ever seen Tootsie?
Yes.
You know the scene in the opening part where he's arguing with all the directors?
Mm-hmm.
That's Dustin Hoffman in real life, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Like, that's what most people have said. That's pretty much Dustin Hoffman in most scenarios in real life, and that's why he's considered difficult to work with.
Okay.
Because he's just a pain in the ass when it comes to that kind of shit. Like, what's my motivation? And if he doesn't agree with you, he will fight with you until, he gets...
Yeah, well, I guess Kubrick benefited from usually very well-written scripts that didn't give the actors a whole lot of room to maneuver to try to improvise or anything. And then, of course, like you say, like Lucas, he's probably better directing action than he is directing actors.
Well, and Lucas's issue was just that when it came to Star Wars, I mean, the stuff was so dry and sci-fi. Like, you know, Carrie Fisher and I think she was the one who famously said, "You can write this shit, George, but you can't say it."
Yeah.
But she memorized, and she still, up to her death, as far as I know, remembered the entire original script for Star Wars. Like, there was lines that she remembered that she could just write on camera, on cue, that aren't even in the movie. Because it's in some of those, like, making-ofs and shit, and she just rambles them off. She's like, yeah, I still remember that. Because you had to remember it. Like, otherwise, no way you're going to get that shit right.
Right.
Basically. I mean, it's just so out there. Like, it's this long speech about her and the Senate and stuff that she's given to Vader in the Vader scene that's not even in the film now. Like, I think if I remember right, she rambles this whole fucking thing off. And it's just like, how does she still remember that 30 years later? Well, that's why she was a good actress, I guess, even after all the drugs. Because I can't remember what the fuck I had for breakfast. We got Joe Pat in the house who says with $4.99, G Kids, the leading art house distributor for animation, was just acquired by Toho. Talk about expanding upon what was established with G1. Well, hey, if it works out for them, I don't know what is G Kids actually. Do they have anything I may have heard of? I don't know. I mean, if they're an art house distributor.
They list Ghibli films among some other favorites. That's
kind of what I was thinking. So does this mean so they acquired this company and so they're acquiring all the rights to these films and stuff that they have had before, or what are they getting out of this? You don't have to send in a super chat. Just kind of add us in the chat or whatever. I'll be watching for you. Godzilla -1, that is. Yeah, I knew what you meant, Joe Pat. I knew what you meant, buddy. I'm just kind of curious what the whole thing entails as far as what they get out of the deal. NZ Greg has been here for 21 months. Hopefully not just sitting here waiting that whole time, but yes, he's been here as a member. So, and Monkey Jeebus had chicken pot pie for breakfast. It sounds good right now.
Was it Marie Callender?
What the chicken pot pie is made of.
You know, that was the song that Weird Al wanted to do in in a version of Live and Let Die.
It is, and he was allowed to do it live. He just wasn't allowed to release it.
Right.
On
Yeah, I always wanted to hear the recording of that chicken pot pie.
Chicken pot pie. You know, at this point, I'm kind of glad he never did, because that song has been so overdone to death because of the Guns N' Roses version now.
Yeah, I suppose.
And I mean,
maybe chicken pot pie would have stopped that from happening in the first place. Maybe they're going like, oh, we can't cover that now. Not that Weird Al's already done it.
Maybe. But I mean, even with Weird Al, like, I get his food thing.
Mm-hmm.
Even sometimes he kind of takes it a little too far. It's like, okay.
The most innocuous thing, though. If he does take it too far, it's like, well, still, it's chicken pot pie.
True. But I mean, I like that he has stuff that he only does live too, because I'd like to see it. I almost saw him live. I never got a chance. Andre has seen him and met him.
Nice.
Yeah. So, was there anything else we wanted? Oh yeah, I remember that other thing you sent me.
The other thing. Oh no, I was kidding. But if you want to bring it up,
there's not much else unless somebody has something that I don't know about.
Well, the trailer
for company wholesale.
Oh,
so I guess that gets. I don't know if that gets in the rights to the movies themselves, but it must. Hopefully, must come with some kind of distribution. And they also distribute anime. So there you go.
The trailer for the new Sweet Baby Inc. video game dropped today.
Oh yeah, that was the other thing, is that somebody got hired over there at Ubisoft or whatever.
Yeah, Chris Kindred, I think it was, if I remember the name correctly. Yeah, he's out, and an Unknown 9 Revelations, whatever the heck that is. That's when I saw the trailer. Somebody sent me a link to it or something, and I played it before I looked at the title, and I honestly thought it was some kind of sequel to or DLC for Forspoken. That silly game that came out not that long ago, because it looked like the exact same kind of setup. But now it's some other total girl boss magic powers can't go wrong video game, looks like. Or the cinematic trailer just, I was like, I wouldn't watch this if it were a movie. It's just in the same vein as everything else that's coming out lately.
Will it outsell the new Dragon Age game?
Oh, man. Drag Age, the Fail Guard. Yeah, I can't wait to see how that goes. Man, just play just get the Ultimate Edition of Origins and go no further. You don't need anything else. No matter how hot Josephine is, or what's her name, the pirate girl in the Dragon Age 2, which is still decent. It's not great, but it's not as bad as Inquisition, and certainly won't be as bad as Fail Guard. But man, the original Dragon Age games that were such a great world building.
It's still one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's a shame to see that franchise completely
destroyed. I've got the Ultimate Edition off of Steam on a holiday sale for like $8 at one point, which is that was an absolute steal. And then I've got the original tabletop role playing game sets. They released them in 3 different phases. And this is all before all the SJW stuff took over. Thankfully, I have all that stuff. I don't know what they've done with later editions of these things. Even a couple of the original novels weren't that bad, especially since they were set in that original world. But after that, man, just stay away. Just stay away. It's so bad. Oh, man. And it's so sad, too, because it was such a great setup, such a great world they built.
Oh yeah, I agree. It's just
Dragon Age 2. I mean, the departure in style and quality between Origins and Dragon Age 2. Dragon Age 2 was such a giant step down. It was so console-y feeling.
It was rushed.
It was very rushed, and it's a shame that they. I mean, I forget who it was. I think it was either Gabe Newell or somebody who said, if you rush a game, it's there forever. If you take your time, at least you get something worthwhile out of it, because once it's out, it's out. You can't take it back. There's been very few instances where someone could take it back or improve. I guess No Man's Sky and that Final Fantasy game that they basically just rebuilt from the ground up after the fans hated it.
What, 14?
I think that's what it was, wasn't it? Where they came out and apologized on stage for how badly it was received.
They risked bankrupting the company to save the game.
Right, exactly.
Thankfully they succeeded with.
Yeah. So you can really do that. But anybody out there who hasn't played Dragon Age Origins, wait until the holiday sale on Steam or something. Pick it up, get the whole shebang, and it's still great. it's still so good. And it actually has origin stories that I still remember to this day because they were so well written and crafted. And you can even on different playthroughs, you can really get a completely different feel for your character, starting with a different origin, and the politics change. It's so good. Oh, I miss those days. I miss those days of good games. Dang it, not message games, agenda games, but just good fun games. You lose yourself in them.
All right. Well, that's
Anyway.
the most you can ask for some gaming talk on Mead, because
Yeah.
my gaming talk goes about as far as Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong.
I'm replaying the Mad Max game now for like the 17th time because there's nothing that interests me anymore, and that game is so awesome.
Grand Theft Auto 3 is the greatest video game ever made.
Did you see that in Mike Tyson voice?
I was trying to. What was the one the kid? Oh, Mortal Kombat. That's the one the kid says in Billy Madison.
Oh, see, I thought you.
I
were doing
disagree.
Mike Tyson.
Donkey Kong is the greatest game ever made.
Oh yeah.
Donkey
Love
Kong
that.
sucks. Yeah, well, you suck.
That reminds me. So I don't know if you already covered this story at some point. The whole Al Pacino went broke thing.
Oh no, I haven't heard about this.
Oh, okay. So in his memoir, I don't have a story in front of me, but in his
I'm
memoir,
broke.
he talked about how he had $50 million, and then his accountant stole it all, lost it in a Ponzi scheme thing, went to jail for 7.5 years, and that's why Al Pacino
I
did
kinda
Jack and
remember
Jill.
that.
That's
right.
why he did Jack and
yeah.
Jill and all these other crazy movies for like the last 10 years or something, is because he was wiped out. And so when we brought up Adam Sandler, I remember that because Jack and Jill is apparently the first movie he did after he lost all his money.
Yeah, I remember that now that you mention it. Yeah, I thought you just meant recently he's broke.
No.
Okay,
No, there's the stories that came out today. They're talking in detail about it and everything, and I was like, wow, I had no idea that happened to him. Because I think I brought him up on the last meet I was on. We were talking about Harrison Ford and movie stars and everything, and I said something to the effect of like, "Oh well, look at Al Pacino. You know, all the movies he's done in the last whatever's that haven't been that great is similar to Harrison Ford." And then when I found it's like, oh, he did a whole bunch of crappy movies for the last 10 years because he was stolen from. Like, oh well, that puts a different angle on it. Then I feel bad for bringing it up. But yeah, if you want to bring up the Marvel toddler thing I put up there.
Sadie's barking out in the backyard. ActionCom says, Tom, Bull, you play Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game? And I don't believe anything otherwise. Well, yeah, but I didn't get very far, especially that first one.
Getting over that
Nintendo
gap.
one, anyway.
You just couldn't get over that gap.
The Nintendo one?
Yeah,
NES, man, that was the best.
Yeah.
I have never conquered that fucker. I've conquered
The dam level. I
other
always got
ones,
skunked on the underwater dam level. I just couldn't navigate
I
that
never
for some
could.
reason back when I was a kid.
I liked it. I'll still play it from time to time if I ever have a chance, which has been years. But the NES TMNT was impossible.
It's great though.
But oh yeah, the smashing, whatever the hell you call the fighting versions of the arcade game and the sequels, those I've pretty much all conquered and easy. I have the arcade of the 1-up arcade of the first arcade game and
Nice.
the third one or whatever it was, Turtles in Time. Well, it'd been the third Nintendo game, but the second one for the arcade, I think.
Yeah, all the arcade translations to
remember
NES
anymore.
I played. Yeah. Those were good.
And then I bought that collection that had like all of the Turtle games on one. That was kind of fun too. That's probably the last time I actually played the NES version of TMNT, and I probably died within 10 minutes and gave up. That fucker is hard, right? Yeah. No, like, I mean, kids nowadays and I used to say that shit to my kid all the time because he was a big gamer, or is a big gamer. And I'd be like, yeah, you kids got it easy. These games pretty much play themselves for you. Like, you guys wouldn't last 10 minutes with Ninja Turtles.
And we didn't have walkthroughs or YouTube tip videos or any of this stuff.
We had
all by ourselves.
We had to rely on
Nintendo
strategy guides.
That's about it, yeah.
And if you lost, you started over after you had a few tries. Oh, yeah.
That's the bigger thing, is you didn't have saves until, like, later.
Yeah.
Like, then they started when they had, like, the battery packs or, like, Well, when did they start making a save a normal thing? That was more like the PS era, wasn't it? Like where you actually.
Well, the closest you could get
The
is if
memory
they put
card,
like a.
the memory
They
card.
had the memory cards for before that, but like. That
Well,
was
they
kind
had
of-
like level codes. So like if you got to like I remember in Zombies Ate My Neighbors, they'd give you a
True,
code
true.
at the end of every level so that if you needed to get back to the next level, you just put in the code. But you'd have to write it down somewhere. You'd actually have to, you know, do some effort.
Nick,
Back in the old
I
days.
watched the show, and within the first 10, 15 minutes of the first episode, you have Gizmo out in the rain and sunlight, and it's not affecting him.
What?
Sure, he's
What?
hiding under leaves and shit, and I'm like, that ain't gonna make no fucking difference.
It just takes drops of water. That's all it takes. We know that.
I just, yeah, there's so many problems I had with the show. I made it like 2 or 3 episodes, and I just had to shut it the fuck off. As soon as it got to that weird wizard dude, I was done. I was just done. And the other thing that bothers me is this is supposed to be, you know, in the 1930s or whatever, and the kids are too modern. They're way too modern. They talk too modern. They act too modern. What bothers, the one thing that bothers me the most, and I even pointed this out with more than enough time for Joe Dante and other people to address on the show, because that's the thing that bothers me is he actually is a consultant for the show. Gizmo was not Gizmo until 1984. He did not have a name until then, other than Mogwai. Like, that's what fucking Key Luke calls him. He don't call him Gizmo. He has never once referred to him as Gizmo. That name was given to him by Rand Pelser. Now, granted, that scene was not either filmed or cut out of the movie, but it is in all the fucking books and other things that go with Gremlins. And for those who don't know, Gizmo got his name because on the way home, he was sitting there tinkering around with some of Rand's inventions. And as you know, the whole joke of a gremlin is a gremlin gets in the mix and it fucks up something mechanical, right? Right? That's the whole where that comes from historically. So the catch was Mogwai fixed things. Get it? So he could fix, and he made his little contraption work. He goes, yeah, you're pretty good with those little gizmos. Oh, that's a good name for you. Let's call you Gizmo. And he seemed to like it. So that's where in the scene that corresponds with that, he goes, I just call him Giz. He seems to like it. Like, that's the story of how Gizmo got his name, kids, for those who don't know. Not that difficult. So until 1984, he didn't have that fucking name. You could call him something else. I wouldn't have no problems with that. But anyway.
Scribe has to go.
Scribe has to go, and we're going to close this down anyway. I think we got caught up on the super chat, so we are good. Oh, except for this one. Action Com says, Tom, do a Let's Play of Team NT on live stream. If I can figure out how to get that one to play, I think I got it on Steam. I might be able to pull it off.
Ooh, I gotta learn how to do Steam and join you. We play all night and then order pizza individually.
There you go. And so to get us out of here, let's start with Scribbles, since he's got to run first.
Yeah, sorry guys, I apologize. Well, let's see. So Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, my weekly series TED Excellence, taking a look at TEDx talks with TEDx Bingo for education and entertainment. And sometime in the near future, well, it got put off because of unforeseen circumstances, but I'm supposed to show up at some point on Latino Slant with Polly to talk about stuff. I think it's going to be Mexican Dracula or Spanish Dracula and also Mexican politics. I don't know if that's still going to happen.
Sexy
but
Dracula.
Yeah, and then...
Are you talking about the new show? The new show.
No, we're talking about the classic made alongside the Bram Stoker
okay, that's
Dracula.
what I thought. Yeah, the one that actually shows some bosoms.
Yeah, there's a new docu-dramedy thing produced by Mexican television that chronicles the story of the making of that film.
Oh, okay.
And,
I think he was kind of telling me about that. I think I want to check
yeah,
that out.
The first episode is apparently available free on YouTube somewhere, and we watched that, and it's
cool.
Interesting stuff. So yeah, hopefully review that at some point. And then in the near future, hopefully I'll have Paulie back on, as well as my friends from the Misery Machine True Crime Channel, to talk about the Menendez Brothers documentary that came out on Netflix in the last couple of weeks. Because that's the next part of our stuff. But anyway, I apologize, guys. I got to split.
Nope, that's fine.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Everybody, have a good rest of your Tuesday and week, and hopefully see you Thursday night. Bye, guys.
See you later, Scribe.
Yeah,
Take
an
care.
OST stand. No. He's talking about the original Dracula from the 1931. Is that when it came out? 31. When they shot that, for those who don't know, real quick, they shot at that point. They didn't do like a lot of the sound was fairly new yet, so to do like translations wasn't as easy. So what they would, and also they were trying to appeal to the Mexican audience. So they actually hired well-known Mexican actors to come in and play the exact same roles and do a Spanish rendition of the same Dracula that everybody has seen here in the US, the Bela Lugosi's in. There's a few minor differences, but actually if you buy the Blu-ray or one of the newer versions that's been out for the last decade or so, it actually has both versions on there, including the Spanish one. So yeah, it's interesting. It's got some differences, but yep, 31. That's what I thought. Thanks, Cavatino. So yeah, no, it's kind of interesting for those who did not know that. And with that, we're gonna finish off here with CC. What do you got coming up? You gonna do some karaoke yet this week or no? I'm getting hankerings.
I'm gonna be gone till the end of the month for a start. I'm not even gonna be online much other than just checking my phone. So
you're unplugging. All right. Well,
yeah,
it'll be a while. So I guess the season's over for karaoke for a bit, unless Price and I manage to pull off some impromptu streams. But Nick, speaking of streams,
oh yes, in less than 45 minutes, Toxic Tuesday, Scream 2, because it's
Scream.
October, the month of Halloween. I was wondering why they didn't call it Screams or Scream Louder. Man, if only. Anyways, yeah, come check us out, hang out. We now dual stream to the green button. And the second hour, we now actually play some clips from the movie now. So it's going to be fun. So we're at the full
I think
gang
they
back.
did call it Scream Again in the original script, if I remember right.
Ooh,
but the problem is like Scream and Scream Again and some of the other titles have already been used for other films.
We'll have to talk about it then.
And back then they actually gave a shit. Like now I know we've talked about this before where it ain't no thing to have 12 movies with the same fucking name out there now, but
yeah, even though they named the fifth one just shit. Scream a few years ago. That was
don't even get me fucking started on that shit.
I know. I agree with you, by the way. Stupid move, but yes,
I'll come only 4 movies. Change my mind.
Yeah, it's a spirit. Yeah, come hang out. This is less than 45 minutes. It's gonna be a diabolically huge time. It's gonna be awesome. So please come hang out.
This one had one of the best soundtracks too.
Oh, we'll see it, and we'll cover the soundtrack too. We have to. It's huge.
You got Collective Soul. You got who else is on there? Shit, I just drew a blank. Well, you had the Cottonmouth Kings, and you had what's his face who did.
Do you need one of those Fagos? Now that you mentioned the Cottonmouth Kings, you need a Fago for that.
Maybe. 6 sends us in a super sticker, and it's not a pooper sticker for once.
Is it pink?
Wow. No, it's not pink, but it is yellow. No, it's a little Shiba dog hugging a big heart. Thank you for that. 6 wagging his tail. Thank you for that. I wish we could show them on StreamYard as much as we pay StreamYard. You'd think they could.
Oh, I know, especially at the price hike. That's why I'm so glad I transitioned to Stream Elements or Streamlabs. Sorry.
Yeah. And then Goddess of Whim sends in $2 and sends in a little Shiba dog, Barton Hearts. Thank you for that, Goddess of Whim, and the support. We appreciate that, you guys. And yeah, with that, we're going to wrap this up so we can get ready to go over and scream about Scream. So yeah, Everclear, that's another one that was on that soundtrack too.
So 90s.
Yeah, I know, right?
I can't wait. Beep Bop Boop, we will be dual streaming to Rumble as well, sir. I see your comment really quick. Yes, we will be dual streaming to Rumble.
That also has the Less Than Jake version of I think I love you, so what am I so afraid of? I'm afraid that I'm Oh, she had to send us some pee. She sent us some pee. 6 cents and $2.
Yes!
Toilet paper, a toilet, and some pee.
Awesome. Well done. Well done.
Well played. And with that, we're going to get on out of here. So take care of yourselves and each other. And we'll see you soon. Nosferatu very soon. Coming soon, experience the classic Nosferatu like you never have before. Nosferatu, the Midnight's Edge experience, with an entirely new score and soundtrack. Lilia Kului, Kului, Kului,